Well, hello, YouTube modeling community. That's right, it's the Fat Man from Alabama coming to you from Don's Garage. Alright, fellas, here's a little video on. This is probably going to be a two-part, but this is how I do it. Not a how-to, but this is how I do it. As far as making cowl hoods, you've seen some of my cars where I've scratch built my cowl hood on them. Had a few people ask how I done it. Well, here we go. I'm going to show you. Get that out of the way. Y'all know I'm doing, those of you that have been viewing my channel, you know I'm building a 64 Plymouth Belvedere for the NYS Pro Street group build this year. And I'm going to put a cowl hood on it. Now, I've already mocked the car up enough to understand to where I could get an idea of how tall the hood scoop needs to be. Now I'm doing this, I've pre-made a few parts to kind of help with time on this video, but there's where we're at right at the moment. I've got the right side laid up, a general idea of the height. Now what I do is I simply take good old-fashioned evergreen 40 thousandths sheet plastic. It's real close to the thickness of the body, so it's got some good rigidity. You can work with it without burning, without cutting through it most of the time. What I've done, let's get this body out of my way. What I do is I take, like here's another piece. All right, this is, well, it's labeled right side. The arrow's pointing to the what would be the front of the hood. Now, what I do, I just take my simple little trusty little measuring stick here, and I lay this across the plastic as such, and just take my snap blade knife and cut along that edge till I get a good edge where I can break it. I generally don't cut all the way through. That gives me more than enough material. As you see here, I've got probably twice as much as I need. You know, it's easier to take away than it is to add to. So this gives me something to work with here. I take, again, my trusty measuring stick. I lay it up here. Hold up, I got ahead of myself. Anyway, as you can see, I've made a second piece right there. How I do that is I lay it on the bench up on its end this way. Lay the plastic. I get the bottom side of the hood to the bottom edge of the plastic here, or as close as I can. I lay it up, and you can see there where I've traced the shape of the hood, because this hood's got a little bit of a crown this way. So that's the lines drawn out on the hood. On this piece is going to be the hood scoop side. Now, after that, I'll cut it. I get a close shape. This is not exact science here. This is kind of a plan or build as you go type deal. Anyway, I've got the shape. This one now has the exact, this one fits real good, and I'll show you in just a minute how well. But also with sanding is I also chamfer the edge all the way down. In fact, this piece got a little bow in it. Let's give it a little straightening. Anyway, as you can see, it's got a little edge to it. That's so when I glue it down at the angle it's going to be. Now again, this is not an exact angle, but this gives me as much contact surface to glue to as possible. And what I do, let's get the foam out the way. You can see I've got some lines drawn out on the hood, which I probably should have already explained. I will here in just a second. But I'll lay that up there And this will actually get glued on, but you can see it's the shape is real close. It's not perfect. That's where the glue is going to help, and then getting body filler. But I've got good surface to glue to because I'm not working on a sharp edge. That's why I chamfered it. But it'll lay in here like so. Something to that effect. And there it is. Now there it's laid over too far, so it'll come up some. I'll kind of eyeball to match this angle. Now as far as the lines on the hood, okay, first, obviously you can tell I've got a center line. Now what I do, this was actually one of the easier ones to get center because there's a big old piece of chrome normally goes right down the center here. So what I done, this hood's for a car I had to strip the paint off. It was a rebuilder I bought. Well, yeah. Anyway, plus the hood has a nice sharp point to it pretty much. So this helped me get my front center line. Now at the back, the chrome actually stopped roughly about right here. Well, what I'd done, especially because, you know, this will all be cut out later. I just took my razor saw and cut me a mark right there in the plastic. In fact, you can really see. Anyway, I cut it right through. I cut it right through there. There's my center of the back. I take my trusty measuring stick here. It's a good straight edge. And bam, there it is. I have a center line to work from. That's the first mark I draw out. Then I try to determine how long I want the hood scoop to be, the overall length. And what I do here, generally I stay between 3.5 millimeter to 4 millimeter. This one, I go to center. This one's 4 millimeter long. Then I measure my width here. This one, I believe, is like 22 at the base. No, this one's actually 24 at the base. I picked center. I measured off here because I wanted to kind of follow the taper of the hood. You know, it's a little wider at the back than it is at the front. So I wanted to follow the taper. I come out here, get as straight as possible. And it was roughly, well, with this piece glued in, it comes out to about 13 millimeter. I measured 14. All right, I come down here, measured my next 4 millimeter mark. I measure from here down to here. This is where this line comes in effect. Now I kind of cheated on this one because I have an extra hood. So what I done was I took the hood, got it all lined up, and traced out the peak. I do not want the hood scoop to land flat or squared. I don't want that squared edge. So we got all this lined up. We put a mark here and a mark here. It's the same width at this end as it is at this. It's the same width at this end, at the front end, as it is the back, but it tapers following the shape of the hood. Now, next step is I cut a big long piece, and this is oversized. The scoop's not going to be nowhere near this width of the top, but it's also shaped. It's also shaped just really close to what the end of the hood looks like. In fact, I got real good close on this one. Hey. Then I take one of my sanding blocks. I lay it on there. I take one of my trusty little sanding sticks here, and I chamfer this edge, or knife cut it, whatever floats your boat, what you want to call it. As you can see, it thins out. This way, when the hood, once all this is cut, this will roll down there and kind of blend in. Whoa. It'll blend in a little bit better. I won't have such a dead shoulder here to try to blend into the rest of the hood. So we're that far along. I'm going to, basically we're going to close this video out at this point. I will do some more work, but kind of behind the scenes, so to speak. I'll get this side cut. I'll get the left side up and cut and start shaping it. Then we will record. Then I'll show you. I'll fire up another video and give you kind of an idea of how I get to that point. This stuff is kind of hard to do out like this. I need a little bit closer to me. So we're just going to do it in steps, fellas. But as you can see, let's flop this thing up on the car. And come on now. There we go. That's the general height of the hood's going to be. When I go to shape the sides, I will do what I can to get it down. I'll sand it down to this line, maybe a little bit past it, and I'll roll this edge here. It won't be so square at this point. Not a squared angle. It'll round more. We'll do that. Also on this plate here, on the top piece, what I normally do, because this plastic's a little flexible, it will take shape and keep it. I take just a scrap piece of 1x, good old lumber. I will line it up where this line here lines up along this edge here, and I'll do what we call break it. I'll bend it. I'll put a little bow in it, because a true cowl hood is not tabletop flat like that. They have a little bit of shape in them. A concave. Oh yeah. Anyway, they're bowed a little bit in the middle. That's simply so they don't flop. You know, it puts rigidity in it at the width of the span. So, alright fellas, I'm going to close this video out. We'll do a little more work and I'll record another one. So, thank you all for watching. Remember, live, love, and laugh. Build the model for you. Take care, everyone. I'll see you in the next video real soon. Bye.